Hi everyone, Lisa Haven here, and the Pentagon has just released a document titled Human Systems Roadmap Review, a 53-page PowerPoint or presentation. And in this particular presentation, it confirms that they are building autonomous or self-governed weapons, kind of your AI robotic type of stuff. And these systems can kill targets. They can attack civilians and all of that based off of things like your tweets, your Facebook posts, your blogs, and the videos and whatnot that you post onto, well, the World Wide Web. I believe the information that you're going to see in this report is downright terrifying. When you give any kind of power like that to a AI system and allow it to make its own decisions, well, Hollywood movies already show you the dangers in that, but this is something we know already. We know they're doing self-driving cars nowadays, many of which have ended up getting people into accidents. Well, I believe this could be something that we're headed into with these autonomous weapon systems. But don't take my word for it. Let's delve into this report. So here is the actual document, Human Systems Roadmap Review. You can see their official stamp here, Air Force, DARPA, Navy, Army, all involved, Reliance 21, and Defense Science and Technology. Now, the author of this particular document is Dr. John Tangi. He is the Director of Office of Naval Researchers, Human and Bioengineered Systems Division. And this presentation was presented at NDIA's Human Systems Conference February of this year. So that kind of gives you a quick background on what this document is. Here is a little bit more of the committees. You can pause that, but you can see they're from all over, Army, Navy, and the whole 9 yards. Now, I'm not going to touch on every page. I'm going to skip over. You can see some of this already shows probably a lot of human machine teaming up, which I'm going to be touching on. But I want to start here on page number 6, ideas, third offset, and 5 building blocks. The first one here is autonomous learning systems, systems that learn on their own, self-reliant, systems that are pretty much self-governed, delegating decisions to machines in applications that require faster than human action-reaction times. Human-machine collaboration decision-making, exploiting the advantages of both human and machines for better and faster human decisions. Assisted human operations, helping humans perform better in combat. Now, let me just make a quick statement here. There are absolutely some machines out there that are way awesome, totally worth everything I guess our government spends on them. One example in this particular report is a suit that the military people can wear, and this particular suit helps them to carry really heavy loads, or having things carry loads for them. I'm all for that. Anytime we have technological advancements in those areas, I think that's a huge benefit to our military. Now, things that tend to cross the line is like you see these little robots here. And these are things that can be deployed and used in war. However, these are the same things they're using to spy on the population. That's what I have an issue with when they start taking such things into places they shouldn't be in order to, quote, gather data. Not only that, but I obviously have an issue with implantable brain chips and merging man and machine and that kind of thing. And it's different if you need a leg or arm or something of that nature, and it's helping that way. But there are certain lines to be drawn when your personality per se conflicts with some brain chip. A lot of brain manipulation, I believe, we become susceptible. But moving on, advanced manned and unmanned. This means no human interaction over these particular systems that are their own decision makers, autonomous, employing innovation, cooperation, operations between manned and unmanned platforms. Network enable autonomous weapons hardened to operate in future cyber EW environment. All right, so you get an idea there. Page 7, Department of Defense, third offset, human machine collaboration, learning machines, computational models of human cognitive, psychomotor, and perceptual capabilities. These are by senses. Machines that learn how a human learns, basically, and can't help but think of a few movies on that. Human machine collaboration, intuitive multisensory, adaptive interfaces, assisted human operations, human machine combat, teaming, which they can fight alongside, autonomous weapons, systems that can take action when needed, which means they're decision makers. They make it on their own when they need without the human interference. Now, while this document does talk about some human interaction with these autonomous weapons, the ultimate goal is that they can take action when needed. Architectures for autonomous agents and synthetic teammates. So scrolling down to page 17, here is their first action plan in which they talk about these trainings and how they want them established by 2025, each per its own department, whether it's funded or not funded or funded in part. And there's about 3 or 4 of these throughout the report. But you can obviously see by 2020, they want these autonomous models that support training and operations. This is page 18, and I find this a little bit disconcerting. I want you to look in the lower as part of the science and technology focus areas on the cognitive processing section. More robust, valid, and integrated mechanisms that enable constructive agents that truly think and act like people. Think and act like people. Virtual human research, autonomous models and agents for training and operations. I'm very leery if anything wants to think and act like a human. Scrolling down a little bit to page 21, here's their second action plan, or where they're expected to be. But I want you to notice here as well, this is a division of the Army, but they want to make machines which can measure to predict their ability to how they're performing, if they're going down, if they're going up, their performance levels, and behaviors. Why study the behaviors in addition to that? I'm a little obviously leery of that, and that just kind of reiterates it here in order to predict certain behaviors. Human systems, COI, which is Community of Interest Sub-Area, System Interfaces and Cognitive Process. Here's the vision. Warfighters teamed with machines through cognitively engineered interfaces that are intuitive to use, learn with experience about their users, learning about their users, and thereby enhance rather than disrupt the warfighters' focus on accomplishing their mission. Now, obviously there's some benefits to that, but there's also a downside, and it really depends on which angle they take that in. If it's working with or in, I guess should be the addressed question, but nonetheless, it's a goal. Here on page 28, here's another breakdown in which some of the focus areas include soldier sensory performance, moving on a little bit, brain-computer interaction. Brain-computer interaction. And that's right next to perceptual and cognitive foundations of soldier performance and human insight and trust. And then going down a little bit, human-robot interaction, human-agent teaming, and shared cognition, and human interaction with adaptive automation. Human machine teams that can successfully operate in an agile fashion in an operational environment. So everything from maximizing human and machine using brain chip technology as well. Here's autonomous control of multiple unmanned systems for military. The problem currently, the fielded systems fall short of desired advanced, highly reliable autonomous cooperative behavior. Yeah, that's a problem. Increase the robustness and transparency of these systems. Autonomous control for multiple unmanned systems. And where are they going to use these? Well, agile and robust mission effectiveness across a wide range of simulations, which means land, sea, water, and with many ambiguities associated with the fog of war. Page 33 here. Applied neuroscience. Soldier-focused neurotechnology. Once again, your brain-computer interaction. Real-time, omnipresent sensing technology, signatures of brain networks that capture changes in task performance, and brain-based technologies to aid the operator and optimize his performance. Here are online operating monitors and assessment technology, people who basically use data that's streamed to augment warfighting performance. Scrolling down now to page 37. I'm going to skip over some of this, but we're in this next section, protection, sustainment, and warfighter performance. Now, you can see real quick here, they already talk about this wearable sensor technology. We know this stuff exists. It's been in many things, but they want to bring this out in order to help stress levels of those who are in the military, but I don't believe it will stop there, and that is the problem. Here they have in this last section, Aerospace Toxicology, human on a chip. Exactly what they mean by putting a human on a chip, well, I guess that is to be determined as well. Now, here's what I talked about earlier, having they're building machines to help hold heavy loads. Great stuff. There are some benefits to that, but again, here's just another chart. But again, we need to look at the up and down side of all these particular aspects. Okay, page 45. Here they want to address certain challenges such as high noises, with the combination of jet fuel, geoengineering, jet fuel in our skies, and high noise environment can cause hearing loss. Whoops. So what they've done is they've exposed rats to this jet fuel and these loud noises because they want to study the auditory nerve damage and hearing loss. And obviously that is exactly what's going on. And in a roundabout way, it makes you wonder if that's an admission of some of the crap they're spraying in our skies, because obviously it causes problems to humanity and it's causing neuro problems to rats. So what does that tell you about the geoengineering that they're pushing in our skies? Now, if this isn't somewhat of an admission, I don't really know what is, but nonetheless, they admit here that it's actually causing some problems, some hearing loss. So I wanted to just show you that as well. I know it's a little bit on them. Scrolling down now to page 48, exploiting social data. Exploiting social data. This is the section that I don't like the most. And here, delivering the mission, effectively evaluate, engage social influence groups in the opt environment to understand and exploit, support threats and vulnerabilities throughout the conflict space. Master the new information environment with capability to exploit new data sources rapidly. Extend capabilities for forecast, rapid planning, and real-time situation awareness of whose activities, human activities and behaviors and intent to operators. In other words, they want to use things like Twitter, Facebook, your blogs, your videos, and analyze data in order to form certain opinions to exploit your data and weaponize your data against you. It's going to get into it more in just a moment. Delivering capabilities, predictive autonomous, self-governed systems, basically, or self-reliant systems with some oversight. Analytics to forecast and mitigate human threats. So if your social media can be weaponized and label you, whether or not you're a human threat, that could be a problem. Provide real-time situation awareness, engage and defeat new adversaries and tactics, anticipate crisis and mission problems. Is that kind of like your pre-crime division that we saw in some of Hollywood's biggest hit movies? Develop data theory and algorithms. Develop behavioral models that reveal social cultural uncertainty. Social cultural, looking into our society and our culture to delve in to find out what makes us tick. Improve context, translation, and interpretation. Technical challenges, lack advanced models. So this is just what they need to work on. Few well-developed countermeasures, TTPs, and resources to guide military engagement in the human domain to impact rapidly changing crises. Let me just say this. Maybe that's what Jade Helm was all about. I know they've done it in different forms as well. We had another one happening earlier this year, but here we have Jade Helm style. And what was Jade Helm about? Well, if you read the document on the very front page of the document, it says, quote, mastering the human domain. Again, and here is another document in which they want to master the human domain and use your social media against you. Goal is to drive military capabilities are reliant upon programs that are not fully funded. So this is just some objectives that they need. But this whole section is one that I highly encourage all of you to check out. But again, this is the goal. They want it all implemented by 2026. Here we are at 2016 when this document came out. Effective engagement in the human terrain. That's your and I's home living, where we're at, not on the military battleground. Planners, analysis, and decision making can create effective approaches to making human security needs and mission concerns, using kinetic and non-kinetic means to achieve desired end states. Interesting there. Once again, here we have this same topic. And it says, develop real-time understanding of uncertain contexts with low-cost tools, yada, yada. Development of devices and tactics to augment tactical edge soldiers with information analysis on demand and in dynamic environments. It also talks about smart glass and the use of facial recognition technology. We all know some Walmarts have put that in. Now on page 51 here's where it says that Trident Juncture 2015. Trident Juncture was a joint military and NATO exercise. Over 36,000 military personnel attended from 30 different countries all across the world. And they're saying that they were able to do some things such as gather data. And here's where they kind of talk about it in detail. They say, okay, some of the accomplishments of this is they had rapid training. They were able to skim through 2 million tweets. That's from Twitter, including information attack trolling tweets that were specifically against their particular military or anti-government, who knows? They're not really specific on what here is deemed as trolling, but they went through everyday citizens' media on Twitter and trolled it basically and got trolls according to them. And other conflicts of information, including 6 months of baseline analysis. They also analyzed over 20,000 tweets and 700 Instagrams during the exercise. Real-time support here, social media information campaigns during live massive exercise. They did that during that NATO exercise, and it gave them understanding of the social media information and environment for strategic communication awareness. Interesting, but you can see they're obviously skimming through our data, and that's something that they did with the NATO, joint NATO thing, Trident Juncture. Here's another one where they brag of similar things, where they used automatic identification of viral information, automatic identification of suspected false accounts on social media. They went through viral photos and videos as well. Here's just some of the situation, I guess they provided real-time situation awareness and automated analytics of social media sources with low manning at affordable cost. Here is where the military and the USG responders to crisis need to I guess they looked up social media to look and see if there were patterns or flow of data in certain areas. And obviously that's exactly what they did and found on these particular documents. And that's it. That's the whole report. So there you have it. I guess maybe this is one of the reasons that the NSA has been gathering massive data on you and on me so they can, quote, master over the human domain. We know that that's all that Jade Helm was about, putting people here in our cities and streets, so to speak, in some areas and doing drills. Not only was it practice for martial law initiation and riots and things like that, but it was also a huge data gathering of the citizens here in America. And now we have an AI system that they want to use, autonomous systems that are self-reliant with little human oversight. And just, I mean, this is crazy talk. I feel as if I'm living, years and years in the future. But this is something that could be a problem in the near future, because as we've seen with driverless cars, there's accidents in those are higher than the accidents that you and I are reported. And that is pretty bad, to say the least. But nonetheless, one can't help but address these particular concerns and questions. When the Pentagon and the Department of Defense released this information, my jaw about hit the floor. It just confirms a lot of the things that you and I knew were going on along. And specifically, my main enragement with this is the fact that social media is being used against us. They're weaponizing it and using it to make a, quote, profile. Now, while the report doesn't talk about forming an official profile on anyone, it does say that it uses social media to gather data on us, on everyday citizens, on whomever they deem, I guess, in order to form opinions and behaviors, in order to study the behaviors of humanity. Now, why would anyone want to do that? Well, good question. There's lots of reasons, propaganda being one. We know that right now our information is sold to many outlets. A friend and I went out to eat at a restaurant the other day, and she had applied for coupons at the place. And she had a particular coupon that she had brought in because she registered. The company sent it to her, and she gave her 20% off coupon for the meal. And the guy behind the counter says, "Oh, you look just like you do in the picture." And my friend says, "I didn't send you a picture, for this coupon. That's part of your business. Where'd you get my information from?" Well, obviously, people or social media sites like Facebook, Google, Twitter, all of these sell your information, and thereby anything you put on the internet, is widely available for them to grab. So the guy had no answer why the photo mysteriously showed up. But you can betcha I explained to her how that did happen and how it's going on hugely in our culture. And she was so freaked out by it that she wanted to close her account. I mean, it was really almost there. She hadn't, thankfully, because I do keep in touch with her that way. But never, never, never post private information that you want out there for all eyes to see. I do it because I'm a reporter and my butt's already on the line. So I share the information as often as I can. It's always good to get on there and share truth when you have it, but don't leave your info out there for all eyes and ears to see. If you can not list your place of living or any of that, I wouldn't do that. So be careful with what you put on there, because somebody is making a profile on you. And it's not just the government, it's big corporations and things that are forming profiles on us and selling that information. But a lot of people also study it because I've read government research documents on how they truly seek to brainwash the masses. Now, that's a talk for another day. I don't want to go over 30 minutes here. But something to keep in mind is absolutely that. Not only is it deciphering friend, foe from governmental sources or what kind of threat level you are, but it's also brainwashing and figuring out how we can win the generation, so to speak, for the globalist and their end game of the New World Order. Anyhow, thanks again for tuning in. Please don't forget to check out my sponsors. One of my new ones here, and I only support these products because they've changed my life, but and so has the tea at getthetea.com. But this is Protovite, and what it is it really gets in the blood. It's blood changing, and when I say blood changing, I literally mean blood changing, but it kind of activates everything else you put in. So it cleanses your blood, gets your organs revitalized, good for inflammation, but when that gets in the blood and you put other supplements in, it kind of ignites it all. So great stuff there. And that's at www.vninc.com/LHNB. And I will leave a link below. Also, check out www.getthetea.com. So he's got at getthetea.com the pine bark extract. It's good for cardiovascular health. You can kind of see the size of these puppies here, but great stuff. Also, foodforliberty.com/Haven. Please make sure you're stocking up with food. Well, anyhow, thanks again for tuning in. This is Lisa Haven signing off.